Okay,
Done. We're on.
great.
I'm
I
not
have,
sure exactly how many people will come. Maybe one, maybe two, maybe three.
uh-huh.
One of
Okay.
my one of the kids who joins regularly, today is her birthday, and she just sent me a message saying that it's her 16th birthday and she's got a party. So
Oh, okay, that's important.
sweet 16.
Hmm.
If you can remember back then.
Well, kind of. It's a long time ago.
A little bit. Yeah, it always sort of feels like it goes fast. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay, so
Where in Finland are you exactly?
I am in the southern part, but inland. I'm not on the coast.
Let's
It,
see. I want to.
it's I'm living in the city called Tampere.
How do you spell that? T.
Tampere.
Okay, I know. I
Tampere.
let me. I
Yeah,
don't
so
think I was there. I think I went close to it. Oh, maybe I did go through it. I have to
mhm.
look at my. For sure, I would have gone through it or close to it. I rode my bicycle 2007
Yeah.
from Helsinki to Vasa. And then from Vasa, I took a ferry to Umer.
Umeå,
Yeah. And then
in Sweden.
in Sweden.
Hmm.
And then I rode all the way north. I did swing back into Finland just a little bit, way up in the north in a city called Enontekiö.
Enontekiö. Okay.
Enontekiö. And then there just sort of like went straight north to Alta and then to Nordkap.
Okay. That's quite a hero's journey in
That was a bit
itself.
of a hero's journey. I felt like every day was a bit of a heroic. That's actually one of the great things about the bike trip is that every day is a and is like a is your own heroic journey. It's like little miniature heroic accomplishments.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But it's a bit easier, I mean, a lot easier in the summertime than in winter time to do it in the north.
Yeah, I think it would be kind of. I don't think it would be very possible. Maybe you could cross country ski, maybe.
Yeah.
That might take a little bit longer.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yes, well, I mean, it was the long days that worked to our advantage. I had
Mm.
I went with two friends of mine, and one of them was from the United States, or we were all from the United States, but one lived in the United States and traveled to Europe for this trip.
Hmm.
And he had a flight back from Oslo
Okay.
on a specific date. And the long story is that we kind of miscalculated how long it was going to take. It was not going to be 13 days. It was going to be 14 days.
Uh-huh.
And it was actually on the ferry when I was like trying to convince my friends. I was like, guys, we're not going to make it in time. Like I
Yeah.
just I know, like I had done my own little actually this was right when Google was just starting to come out and I was using Google Map by hand to measure the distance.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting 1,600 kilometers, not 1,400.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was on the boat ride when we kind of realized, like, you're right, we're going to miss this. So we need to start to extend our distances every day.
Mm-hmm.
And we were still kind of short. So I said, like we were riding, I was like, guys, it doesn't get dark at night. We could
Yeah.
theoretically ride through the night.
Okay. Did you do it?
And we did it.
Wow.
That is till this date my longest bike ride was 215 kilometers. And I actually started in Finland. We
Uh,
started in Finland and rode all the way to Alta.
mhm. In one day?
And we left like probably like around 10 in the morning and got in at like 4 in the morning the next day.
Mhm. That's pretty amazing.
It was pretty, it was, that was the night, like the 4 o'clock in the morning ride was, like that whole midnight ride was just incredible. Just because there was not very few people on the road, so that you had
Mm,
the road all to yourself.
yeah.
Um, I remember like it was cold. It was the first time I got cold on the trip.
Hmm.
And I, um, and so I remember like I'm riding along and I could see the sun, the direct sunbeams hitting the top of this mountain, you know,
Mm,
which because I was going north, it was on my left side, right? That would have been on the west. Sun is rising and it's just hitting the top of the ridge. I could see the tree line was brighting up. You could see that there, light versus shadow.
mm.
And my normal brain was thinking like, oh, great, if I can see sunlight, 15, 20 minutes, it's going to hit me. Right? As the sun rises, it's going to hit the whole mountain and then eventually it's going to be on me. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Okay, just 15, 20 minutes. And, I know that like even if it's cold, direct sunlight makes a huge difference.
Mm.
But it never rose. The sun doesn't go high. It just goes around in a circle.
Yeah, up north, yeah.
So, and I'm like riding and I'm riding, I'm waiting for it to, and I'm like, I don't see any change.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, that's actually a very good introduction to this topic, the hero's journey. An excellent example. I mean, a concrete example, but it can be, even as a physical exercise.
Hmm.
So, shall we start the session?
Well, I don't have anybody joining as of yet.
Okay, so what are we gonna do?
I'm gonna wait 2 more minutes. I'm a little worried that like because the weather is getting nicer, my attendance may be falling off. Um,
Oh.
I don't know. This is the first time actually all year that I didn't have anybody. I've had at least a couple of times just one person, mostly two. But I just
Mm,
had a new person join this week, no, or last week, and I was all, and I even texted her, because she joined my WhatsApp group,
mm,
and but 10 minutes in is not a good sign.
mm. Okay, well,
Um,
um,
I'm bumming
maybe,
about this. We
yeah,
can,
maybe
yes, go ahead.
should we try again on, I mean, maybe next week or the week after or something?
We can try again next week. If that
Mm.
if that still works for you. I don't want to screw you up. Uh,
Let me check my calendar. So it's like every Thursday, basically. Is
every
that?
Thursday.
Mm,
I would like to hear your hero's journey, myself personally, your story about this, because I find it, I'm kind of I feel sometimes myself personally like I'm struggling. I feel like I'm a hero, but I'm not, there's a gap between being a hero and not accomplishing what.
Yeah, I get it. I I feel that too. I mean, I don't think you're the only one.
No, I don't.
Um,
Oh, I'm by no means thinking I'm the only one. Um, and
yeah.
a lot of times it feels like being the hero, gets you into trouble.
Yeah, actually, yeah, this is would be actually a good topic to discuss in the session. So I think I should add it there in the somewhere in the agenda.
That being a hero can get you in trouble.
Um,
Or how would you
what
phrase that? Or how would you?
maybe it's like yeah, this gap. Why what is happening? Why are we not being the hero that we maybe we know that we are, or that we can be, but we are not in practice. So what is the like holding us back? So maybe that's would be a good question to talk about.
Well, if you want to just discuss a little bit, I had some interesting insight that you might like this. Maybe you're already familiar with this.
Uh,
Um, but
Okay.
on a personal level, my stepson is suffering from alcoholism, and one of the things that and I've heard this before because my brother's uh um how would you call brother-in-law also suffered from alcoholism, eventually passed away from it. Sort of a
Mhm.
repeated theme that I've heard from people who are suffering from substance abuse is this desire for freedom.
Mm.
And he was we he was talking to me, and he left a rehabilitation center that he was just at, and his biggest reason was he didn't have freedom.
Mhm.
And I was trying to explain that, like if you leave, you're still gonna, you're gonna have to get a job. You're gonna not have the freedom to just, there's we are all there are still things that tie us to the physical world that we are not free from.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
and then because it revolves in one's brain, I thought, you know, is it kind of like you can't escape in the physical world? Like you gain one's freedom, but you lose something different. You know, if you gain financial freedom, there's a cost to that. If you have tons and tons of money, um, like even if you like, for example, the more money you have, then I think
Mm.
one of the hard things to like one of the areas, like it's very hard to tell who is your friend sincerely and who's just after your money. Right? Whereas like if you're
Right.
poor, and somebody's your friend and hanging out with you, you kind of know they're hanging out with you because they like you.
Yeah. Right.
Uh, um, let alone like if you have a lot of money, there might be responsibilities that come from it. People might want that money. Um, if you become famous, you lose the freedom of being on your own. You walk out your house, people are taking pictures of you. Um,
Mm.
so
Yeah.
there might be some, I defined it once in what I call the sales triangle. I learned this in sales. When you buy something, you're confined to three value points and you can't
Mm.
escape it. So those three value points are quality, price, and service. And
Mhm.
so for example, if quality is really important for you, and you can't have all three. Like you can't have a cheap car that's being serviced and is great quality, right? Something has to
Yeah.
give, right?
Mm,
So with the car is the easiest example. Like if money is important and quality is important, then you buy a used Mercedes, right?
mm,
If money is not important and you want quality and service, then you buy a new Mercedes.
mm,
If money is important and service is important, then you buy a new Fiat,
mhm.
for example. I mean, like
Yeah.
that's a way to show how it moves around.
Mm,
And I wonder if there's something similar with that when it comes to freedom, which may impact the hero's journey.
mm, mm. Uh, I haven't thought about that, but well, um, so basically, I guess you could say that um, in some respects, the hero's journey is about the the freedom to be who you really are, I think. And yeah, so there is a cost to that, but you can't have everything, just like you said.
Exactly. You can't have everything. Exactly. So like you can, you can be, where does freedom fall in line with being a hero? A hero, how do you define a hero?
Um, well, it just occurred to me that at least one type of hero is the someone who is fighting for freedom for
Mhm.
himself or and others.
And others for
Mm,
freedom of a
yeah.
fire, for example. There, like we can think of like the most simplistic hero, the fireman, right? The
Mm,
fire, people are going to lose their home. They won't be free to live. Hero comes in and intervenes, puts out the fire.
yeah. Um, so yeah, it's a kind of a difficult question for me because it's a new angle on this hero's journey. But um, but it is a journey, so it's not like in the in the very like stereotypical superhero stories where that the main character is it's like being heroic all the time from the beginning until the end. But it's actually a story of growth. So, and one of the most difficult things for us human beings is to give up things we love. We are
Hmm.
kind of we're kind of bound to our comfort zone and also things to which we are addicted. So I think that is actually the at the core of the hero's journey to become free from these things which limit us. So give up the things which are easy for us, comfortable, nice, that we like, and instead go to a zone of discomfort, zone of difficulty, face our fears. But that is actually where the biggest growth happens. Like Joseph Campbell said, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. So, and that actually liberates us. It's not some like any substance or physical thing or any person. It's the how we like surpass ourselves, become greater than we were before. That's that gives us more freedom to be and to do.
Uh-huh. Very good.
It's like the
Now,
next
okay,
level.
I see it. Now I see it. Right. Okay. So the hero's journey is to confront your own fears, which are
Yes.
holding you back, which are mental, or even physical. Because if you are, if you've been, I broke my leg in a bicycle accident 2 years ago, and
Mm.
it was heroic, there was heroic moments of doing the daily exercise. It was painful. I had to remind myself it was boring, it was repetitive. I couldn't leave.
Mm.
Um, and in order to regain my strength and to be able to walk again and to be able to ride a bicycle, which I love to do, um, I had to be my own hero and
Yeah.
hope and accept these discomforts. And I knew every day when I was doing my exercises that I had to gently get out of the comfort zone.
Yeah.
That if I stayed in the comfort zone, I wouldn't get stronger. And then by growing, one becomes you have more you're stronger. So if I'm stronger, I can carry more bags. I'm freer because now I can carry more food. I can eat
Yeah.
more food. I can have the apples and the bananas.
Correct.
I mean, that's freedom. And now, if I was weak, I would have had to choose between the apples and the bananas, and then I would not have. But with more strength, I get to carry apples and bananas. So now I can have apples in the morning and bananas in the evening.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
that's one.
basic.
That's a very simplistic physical example, and then there's the
Yeah.
mental part to it.
Mm. So basically, it's about um because mm, it's about actually about reaching our full potential because that's also at the core of regenerative development. It's
That's the
like
regenerative. Yes.
regenerative, yeah. Like
Uh,
I kind of same thing, just different angle or different terminology. So
well,
you,
regenerative, like especially in today's world, like regenerative could mean efficiency. Like let's find an efficient, effective, sustainable way of doing something.
uh,
Whereas hero is there's there's a sense of like leadership. It could be internal leadership
mm,
to fix something. Right? I mean, heroes
mm,
fix
mm.
something. Am I a hero if something is not, you know, the grandfather is the hero to the granddaughter because the grandfather is filling some gap that the granddaughter is missing. Attention, knowledge, experience,
Yeah,
care, sense of
yeah,
being a part of a larger generation. That's the gap.
yeah, yeah. In that sense, a hero could be someone who is helping others bridge a gap, for
Some
example.
kind of this fixing something. A gap,
And and healing.
which with healing is also a gap, right? You're
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
and then there's the hero within us, the internal hero that's speaking to who we are. So there's a gap within us.
Mm.
And then the regenerative means to me like things are in disorder and we are going to okay, I'm going to go. I like using very simple examples. Like the
Mm.
soil is not good. We need to regenerate the soil. We need to mix it. We need to toil it, get the soil underneath, that has nutrients and bring it up to the surface. So we have to plow it, grind it. We may have to let it sit and let
Mm,
vegetables grow and turn it over so that the nutrients in the soil are regenerated so that we can grow something.
mm.
Is that am
Yeah.
I is that right?
Yeah, that's kind of like I think one of the major meanings of regeneration. Maybe the term itself, regenerate, is not the best because actually it's defined as coevolution, especially coevolution of the human being and nature. So evolving together to reach our full potential. That is the the original definition of regenerative development.
All right. Well, that's the same thing with regenerating the soil. Right? It
Yeah.
needs to work with nature.
Yeah.
Nature has its cycles.
Mm.
In order for, and it takes effort um, in order to make it so that the soil is able to grow food.
Yeah.
Um,
So, mm, so I would say that in from that perspective, a hero is someone who is regenerating something, like the environment, the family, even him or herself.
well,
But it requires this uh, growth at the same time. It doesn't happen like a kind of routine procedure. There has to like there. It's a kind of like reaching the next level in something.
all right. Well,
That's
I'm going to challenge you with something then, because you had
okay.
said like nature, but
Hmm.
does regenerate? There could be somebody, a generation alpha, right, the youngest generation out there. Um, what happens if they said regeneration is going to happen with computers and robots?
Mm, of nature.
Just like, look, we're going to need to use robots to help us make decisions. It's too complicated for humans to make decisions. They're too corruptible. Computer is not corruptible. I can't bribe a computer, but I can bribe you. We're all bribable. That was the old grade school job. How much, would you, if I pay you $1 million, will you, eat this, pile of shit? Yeah, if I pay you enough, you will. So you're
Mm,
brought, we can be corrupted. Whereas I can't corrupt AI. I can I can corrupt it through specific behind the back door prompts, and that's why people are afraid of it. Because, but if I don't, it will only do what I tell it to do. And if I tell it to like look at all of the data in the world and tell me, what's the most sustainable path forward, might give us better answers. I'm just like saying this,
mm,
this is what Generation Alpha or Generation Z may say. Like, I think that there's like, my, I have my own answer to this question, but I wanted to hear what you thought first.
mm. Well, eh, um, well, that may be the case. That I mean, machines might be able to take better care of nature, but then why is the human being here? What is our function then? If because if machines do everything, then we will become all lazy and
Well,
we'll become
what happens if
extinct, maybe.
what happens if they, what happens if the machines are just a metaphysical extension of who we are? In the sense of the chemical communication in tree roots. Trees apparently can communicate with each other chemically through their roots. system.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, they can warn each them about potential risks.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm wondering, like this is a question I've had for 26 years
Hmm.
when I started working with a Native American and Hemiastopus storm. I don't know if you know the book Seven Arrows.
Nope.
No. And I spent some time at not just some time, quite a lot of time with him in England 25 years ago.
Mm.
And he he was like one of the things he said is that nothing is artificial.
Hmm.
The everything comes from nature. Your car comes from nature, the metal comes from nature, everything is nature. There is no such thing as artificial. Um, which I thought I like because I'm a philosopher in heart. I listened to that. Like,
Mm.
okay, that I see where you're coming from there. Um, and then, at this time I was involved with in the IT business. I was selling computers for all intents and purposes.
Hmm.
And it was the internet was really starting to get going. All of a sudden, actually, I was selling video conferencing systems, what you and I are doing right now.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, that's incredible. Like this is amazing technology.
Mm.
And then, I mean, all right, I'll tell you the slightly longer story to this. I'll try. I went to Boston to on a sales not a, on a, for a sales conference. The equipment that we were selling, the company was called PictureTel, and they hosted a big giant sales conference. All of their salespeople could come and learn about their new equipment and da 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 da. So we all met up in Boston, and part of it there was like this evening entertainment. So one evening we went out and we saw a show called the Blue Man Group. And the Blue Man Group was great. I loved them. And in fact, the music was so cool and they were funny as hell. I bought their CD. I was like, I'm buying their CD. So I bought their CD. And later that summer, I met with a German man who translated one of Hemiastophis's book from English to German. I had met him during these workshops in England, and we had agreed to hang out together in outside of Munich where he lived. I went down to visit him, and I brought this CD with me, and I showed it to him because I thought it was kind of cool music. And he's like, he looks at the CD, and he's like, "Oh, Ode to Mendecroft." Mendecroft was this scientist or mathematician who reintroduced fractals.
Hmm. Yeah.
And, and then so this German guy's name was Dragon. He like tells me what fractals are.
Hmm.
And then I was like, oh wow, there was a scene during the show where they were describing fractals. And the CEO of the company really made a point. I remember like the last day, the CEO was like, I hope you guys enjoyed the Blue Man Group. I love that band. And I was like, why did he like make so like kind of like a little bit of like my imagination and clicking was on. And I was like, I know I'm not an IT engineer, but I understand a bit how things work, and I know that like what's happening right here is through compression and decompression. Right. So when we send emails, when we send images, everything is getting compressed. They're finding patterns. Decompression is based on patterns. It's finding patterns, digital patterns, and it's compressing it and then it's decompressing it.
Hmm.
Makes it possible for this to happen. So I was like, wow, so fractals must be involved because if you look at sound, like even like the noise cancellation, right?
Hmm.
You put in the earplugs and it cancels out the background noise, right? I mean, so it's recognizing certain patterns, noise patterns that are not your voice, so we can cancel those things out.
Mm.
Makes the clear.
Hmm.
So the same thing is happening with images, same thing is happening audio. So I started to realize 26 years ago that like science and nature are very much interconnected.
Mm. Would you explain that? How do you figure that?
How do I figure that?
Yeah.
Well, science just explains things.
Mm.
Why science explains why the leaves turn green and then turn brown. It explains the chlorophyll reaction.
Hmm.
Um, if the trees are using chemical reactions to communicate, how
Mm.
much different is that from digital signals, ones and zeros being, this is all what it is ones and zeros, the matrix.
Mm.
Just simply storing information, being able to rebrise it. Oh, this was the other thing that Hemiastropus Storm said that also got me to think about this. He was like, just because we don't have the ability to de-record it, how do we not know that the trees aren't storing information? Like in a small way, there are ways like if you chop down a tree and you look at the rings, you can tell when there, like when there was a dry season, when there was a wet season,
Hmm.
right? Simply by the lengths of the, but that's just one very, very simple, but that's information. That's one bit of information. Like, oh, okay, now I can count back and find out when there was a rainy season, when there was a dry season.
Mm. Okay.
Uh, what happens if there's more that's happening that tree is able to collect that information? We just simply haven't been able to figure out how to decipher it, which is then science. Science just gives us the ability to understand different languages, understand different phenomena.
Mm. Okay. Um, so I don't quite understand what you're trying to say.
Well, I'm just wondering how much regenerativeness is also going to be linked with science. And the science has messed us up, but also
Mm.
science explains stuff, and well, it even explains why we're messing things up.
Mm. Um, yeah, well, yeah, science can be very useful and technology, both. But I think that actually the real evolution happens at, you could even say, uh at the DNA level or and even the spiritual level. If you
Yeah, well,
um
spiritual level is also, and the DNA level, these are also kind of sciency.
it
In
can
my
be.
opinion, I mean, I see science and spirituality. I
Mhm.
really do.
Um
Different dimension. Just we don't, you know.
yeah.
Do you remember? Do you know the story Flatland?
Flatland?
Flatland.
You mean the is that you mean the movie or theory or something?
I think it's called. I think it was a book.
Book. I don't think I read it.
Um, so Yeah,
Flatland.
Flatland. It's the Flatland, a romance of many dimensions, published in 1884.
No, I don't know that.
Um,
Written by who?
Written by Edward Abbott. No, no, no. Agnes Priest and Schoolmaster. Who is the writer? Author is Edward Abbott.
Hmm. Well, it doesn't ring any bell for me, so.
Uh, well, it's a short story. It's not. It was introduced to me at my Waldorf school in math class.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But there was spirituality in math linked in here.
Hmm. Well, yeah, that's true because um because it seems that fundamentally the universe is mathematical and fractal, and there's some kind of like we could call it divine intelligence, like that has designed everything. I mean, the the whole cosmos, multiverse.
Yeah,
So,
that was what. So basically, the story was about. It was the Flatland was a world that it was an imaginary world in a two-dimensional. It was a two-dimensional world. You and I, we live in a
mhm,
so-called three-dimensional world. Well, this was a
mm,
story that took place in a two-dimensional world. So all beings were either a line or a square, a triangle, a pentagon, hexagon,
mhm,
uh, and you could tell based on. I don't want to get into the whole nits and bitties behind it, um, but at one point, this guy, who's the main character in the story, comes across a sphere. And the
mhm,
sphere enters his two-dimensional world, but he sees the sphere in two dimensions. He's limited to his so he sees it as a circle.
mm,
First, he sees it as a dot, and then the circle gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then the circle gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
mhm.
Right?
Okay.
And the sphere could see him, his insides. He was like, I can see your insides.
Mhm,
And this guy, like, wow, like looked at him as like something spiritual, like a godlike figure,
mm.
but it was just math. So like maybe this spirituality is just different dimensions, different. It looks like magic to us. It feels like something extra, but it's really just part of
Yeah.
us. Part.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because actually, um, there's talk that we're now like moving from third to fifth dimension, and there are at least 12 dimensions in existence, maybe 13 or more. So we don't really know what is beyond this dimension.
Because like sometimes I think that like technology like this is part of that dimension. Like you and I are like communicating. It's pretty incredible. You know, this is like pure magic 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 200 years, maybe 100 years ago, they could kind of start to fantasize it. 200 years ago, no, not so much.
Mm,
Um,
mm, well, I don't know. I have a little different view on technology. I mean, its role in this evolution, if you'd like to hear.
yes.
So, um, so the bottom line is that, well, I believe that every living being has a soul. And and also I believe that machines, I mean, it's hard to imagine that the machine could have a soul. So, but they can still be highly intelligent and knowledgeable. But for me, the function of technology, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing is that it's it's like you said, they are extensions of our certainly our bodies, maybe even our consciousness, or at least uh, our senses. So it can like extend our capabilities and also help us develop our consciousness so that we can reach higher levels of evolution. Um, but I do not believe that machines could ever like become more. I mean, I don't even know if they can become life forms. I mean, genuine life forms, but at least they can help us evolve and also nature. So I don't know, maybe it's some kind of a kind of
Well, maybe
bridge.
maybe the machines, no, the machines aren't alive.
Yeah.
They're not alive in that sense.
Mm.
They are, it's just a megaphone.
Mm.
You know, in a megaphone, what you use to make your voice louder. Just a megaphone. I'm the voice. If I turn the battery off on the megaphone, it doesn't work. But if
Yeah.
I use the megaphone, 20 people can hear me.
Mm. Right.
And they're not hearing the megaphone, they're hearing my voice.
Mm. Yeah.
Artificial intelligence, as we say it, like machines being intelligent, they're not intelligent. They're not intelligent. We're the ones who are intelligent. We're the
Mm.
ones who are going to have the intelligence to be able to follow its suggestions based on other human beings' input. AI isn't getting this ideas from outer space. It's getting it's all of its answers are coming from what other real human beings said and did and wrote. It's
Yeah.
just a incredibly complex megaphone that is
Yeah.
gathering tons of people's voices very quickly and collaborating it together in a meaningful manner so that more people can hear it than prior.
Yeah. So it reminds me of some movies or games in which these superheroes have some uh, technological gadgets which gives them like superpower or
This is cool,
super
yes.
sight or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is like um how they can be useful in like at the physical level.
Well, isn't that
So that
interesting? Isn't that interesting that in the past, mythical heroes were these superheroes that that could swim. I mean, I think Norway has some great the Scandinavian culture has some great old mythical heroic legends that could do all kinds of superhuman things.
mm,
And then to today, like Superman who could fly,
yeah.
or Spider-Man who made webs. Interesting that these are like very closely linked to nature.
Mm.
Aquaman, you know, um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's really,
Exactly. And now you're getting to the core because I think that's the point. When we join forces with nature, then we we get these superpowers. We can become like divine beings, really.
hmm, interesting.
Yeah. But the
So
biggest challenge is to it's not out there or here. It's to like face our demons. And some people talk about slaying the dragon, but actually we need to integrate our shadow, not kill it.
mhm,
Because it has because our potential lies in our shadow, the part of us which we don't accept or we don't know about. That's where our hidden potential is that we need to bring to light. and then work together,
Mm.
integrate. That's the biggest challenge for the human race, in my humble opinion.
No, excellent, excellent. Yeah. I do. I agree. Well, I think a lot it comes, nature is inspirational. It's, it's connecting with, like with who you are. Like each of us sees nature differently. It There's a smell, a flower, um, the breeze against your skin is, and definitely tech, everything is trying to find the path of least resistance. Like nature kind of like even takes that. I mean, you don't see water going upstream.
No.
You'll never see a herd of elephant. I mean, like they'll eat up all the grass in one, and then when they finish, they'll go to the next. You know,
Mhm.
and unless there's, or like deer, for example, deer will go and eat up all the grass until the wolves chase them away, and then they got to go eat somewhere else. But if there were no wolves, they would just sit there and munch it all up. This is a great story of the wolves in Yellowstone,
Uh-huh.
where in Yellowstone National Park they took away all the wolves,
Hmm.
and as a result of that, the deer felt at some point began to feel safe, so they would come to the riverbank and they
Hmm.
ate all the grass,
Yeah.
and then that started to impact the ecosystem. And when they reintroduced the wolves, then that whole diverse ecosystem was able to flourish again.
Yeah. That's an excellent example of how we should live organically as nature does. Don't
Or even just
disturb.
accept that there are, like this is a good thing for your hero's journey.
Hmm.
It's like this getting out of the comfort zone.
Yeah.
We need to have in nature, like interestingly enough, like nature is very clever. Like it wants us to it wants us to be a little bit uncomfortable. Like
Mhm.
in order for everything to thrive, we got to get chased. If we don't get chased by the lion, we're not going to stay strong. Now, but
Mhm.
nature needs us to run just fast enough to get away,
Yeah.
not too fast and not too
Mhm.
slow,
Yeah.
right? Just enough that if we put effort into it, we can survive. And also recognize that like not everything is guaranteed, so you might not. So
Yeah. But that just shows that nature is actually helping us evolve, right?
yes,
Because it gives us these challenges, which are, I mean, okay, they can be difficult, but they are not too difficult. There's enough like level of difficulty, like in a game, a really engaging game. It
yeah,
has this enough difficulty, but it's not like crushing you.
exactly. It can't crush you, and it can't be too easy either. If it's too easy,
Yes.
you're not gonna. If the game is gonna get boring.
Yeah.
Right? It's got to be just challenging enough to make it so that you can eventually win, but you got to put effort into it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the hero's journey.
This is the hero's journey. All
A
right.
kind of game of life. That's another name for it, I guess.
Well, look, we just had a nice hour chat there, Ollie. Thank you very much for that. Let's talk. I'll send you this video since we've recorded it. I think there might be some interesting conversations here that you might want to tap into.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so when we finish, I'll get the download and I'll download it and send it over to you, or put it up on YouTube or something, or I'll figure something out. But
Yeah.
maybe MP3 first.
Uh-huh. Well,
Uh,
yeah. Thank you so
uh,
much.
Thank you too. Do you want to reschedule for next week, or do you want to quickly check your calendar and get back to me?
Um, how about after 2 weeks?
2 weeks is I mean, yeah, it's fine. Absolutely. Yes, 2 weeks is fine. I don't have, I mean, I'm doing it for 2 more weeks. So yes, definitely. That would be 14 to 21.
Mm, yeah, 21st.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's now it's easy when
Okay.
you're 1 week from the day of the seven, it's easy because 7, 14, 21.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay. So
All right.
same topic next time. I mean,
Same
this
topic next
which
time.
we planned originally.
Yes. Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too, Mom. Take good
Yeah.
care.
You too.
Thanks.
Stay heroic.
You too. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.